Can fiction be truer than fact? In The Sandman, Volume 3, Neil Gaiman wrote, "Things need not have happened to be true. Tales and dreams are the shadow truths that will endure when the mere facts are dust and ashes and forgot." I do wish Neil Gaiman had written forgotten. Nevertheless, the point is well taken. Indeed, I would claim that tales, stories, are truer than fact, at least potentially. I make this claim because life in general, the world in general, is very messy and very cluttered. As a research biologist, indeed, as any kind of scientist would tell you, one of the things I would attempt to do is design an experiment that removes some of the messiness and noise and chaos from the world. Conditions are created in which it's possible to focus, preferably, on the results of a single variable, of how that variable changes when all other things are controlled. Of course, such a perfect system is not attainable, and there always remains some unwanted variation due to other uncontrolled factors. Fiction writing is something like this. In fiction, we concentrate on one or a few themes and explore them in detail, excluding extraneous material. One of the simplest and clearest examples of this is in the form of the parable, as we see in the Gospels. Here, a simple story is told that usually highlights a single important point. This reveals a truth that could otherwise be obscured by the noise in the real world. I put truth in inverted commas because I find myself somewhat on the side of Pontius Pilate here. What is truth? Truth, I believe, is time, place, and context dependent. Now, a parable never contains the whole truth and nothing but the truth, but it is a partial truth that we might otherwise overlook in the clutter and noise of the real world. A parable is, at the same time, untruth because it ignores other important factors or pieces of information. The same is true of more complex forms of fiction. They are abstractions from the real world and are therefore able to reveal truths that might otherwise be overlooked. Of course, they're also untruths, as implied by the very word fiction itself. Here is a theme that frequently recurs in my thinking. It's the idea of the coincidence of opposites. This concept goes back to early Greek philosophy, but also gained currency in the late Middle Ages, and it's also evident in the psychology of Carl Jung. It's the idea that something can be simultaneously its own opposite. The road up is also the road down. A story can be true and untrue at the same time, and in being so, is somehow more true than it would otherwise be. This reflects the complexity of whatever this thing is in which we live, this universe, this world, and even more so, this thing that we are, human beings. Of course, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and a story is just a story.